a lot of recent developments, current developments that take into account the fact that our perceptions are so much more than just passive happenings, taking into account how we're actively interpreting the sensations that we have, has resulted in a lot of predictive hierarchical encoding models that people are using in machine learning, and Carl Friston's theory about how adaptive systems minimize free energy in order to predict their environment and adapt and stay alive. I think that's a key thing, and what we just heard in this conference from Giulio Tononi is a very interesting approach to understanding how wholes are more than the sum of their parts. But both of those theories I just mentioned are heavily based on the notion of mechanism. And I think that's the crux of the hard problem in many ways. All of our scientific explanations emphasize mechanisms. And historically, at least, mechanisms don't require any kind of sensation to play out their story of explanation. At some point, if we're going to really attack the notion of the hard problem and how sensation could be a fundamental part of the universe, we're going to have to get beyond this purely passive mechanistic way of explaining things and take into account that perhaps all kinds of so-called mechanisms have a sensory aspect to them and a perceptual aspect. And that's where I become a panpsychist and start looking at things like, hydrogen atoms. There's a combinatorial problem here that many people have pointed out. How do you get from those kinds of awarenesses, however simple and trivial they are, to a more human kind of an experience? But I think we do have to attack the problem at that level. And maybe quantum theory is part of the answer. Maybe some systems theory of the future is part of the answer. And maybe Tononi's notion of integrated information is part of the answer.